U veljači 2005. Christina Aguilera i njezin dečko Jordan Bretman otišli su na izlet duž obale Kalifornije.
So we went up to Carmel, and while we were having dinner, I had the manager just completely fill the room with balloons.
Pink and red balloons, which are my favorite colors, and he had planned this elaborate scavenger hunt around the room.
She had to kind of go around finding all of these little gifts. The last clue was that she had to come over to me, and then I got on one knee, and I had hidden the ring underneath the couch, and I pulled it out and presented it to her.
Stephen Webster's name was on the box, which is my favorite jeweler, so I thought, earrings, necklace, something, and I open it, and my jaw drops, and I immediately start tearing up, and I just was completely taken by surprise, and I was so shocked and excited and hysterical that Jordy was like, so what? You haven't answered me yet. What is it? What's the answer? And then, of course, I was like, of course, yes.
And we actually both started crying when I proposed to her. It was just beautiful. It was great. It was perfect.
So it was an amazing moment in my life.
Tog studeno Christina i Jordan vjenčali su se i proslavili to raskošnim trodnevnim slavljem u jednom vinogradu u dolini Nepa.
The first night we had a little cocktail party just to kind of welcome all of our guests.
They were so happy. Christina and Jordan wanted to share that with everybody.
The second night, rehearsal dinner before our wedding was a Japanese theme.
The menu was all Asian inspired, and they had cute little names for the cocktails, and then everyone had to dress in Japanese costume.
And then the next day was the actual wedding.
They had a really wonderful ceremony. They had decorated this beautiful tent as a Roman cathedral, but they exchanged vows, traditional Jewish vows.
I come from a family of Holocaust survivors, and I think it was just important for me just to honor the tradition of a Jewish wedding, and Christina was totally fine and open with it.
Those seconds leading up to the walk, I was just so emotional.
It was really sweet. It was one of those, like, wow, I can't believe I'm getting married. She just couldn't believe this moment in her life had come.
And when the curtains opened and revealed Christina, it was just breathtaking to see her in the dress, and she looked just so beautiful, and it was just really a very emotional experience for me to know that was the moment that we'd been waiting for.
I was to meet both the moms at the end of the aisle, my mom on one arm, his mom on the other, and then they would walk me the rest of the way to my husband, Jordan at the end.
I never expected to be asked to walk my daughter down the aisle, but she's had so much in her lifetime, that happened with her father, there's a lot of pain.
It was emotional for me to realize that this is where I'm headed to in the next chapter of my life and in starting a family of my own. And this is the step I make towards not repeating where I was when I was a little girl, because I knew I was marrying an amazing man who I would never feel that experience or that turmoil, that chaos that I was grown up with.
He's the world's greatest guy, and the smartest thing Christina ever did is marry Jordan.
Aguilera nije gubila vrijeme i vratila se u studio kako bi dovršila treći album.
By the time I came to recording Back to Basics, I'd fallen in love, I'd experienced so many new things, come to terms with a lot of my past, and was able to let a lot of things go. I felt probably lighter emotionally, and when you feel lighter emotionally, you're going to reflect that on the outside.
I do definitely think that from Strip to Back to Basics, it's more of her maturing as a woman and an artist and finding a different way to express herself.
Back to Basics was different than her other albums in the sense that it had this retro feel to it.
I knew that I was going to want to make a record that really touched on the great soul singers and jazz musicians and artists of the 20s, 30s, and 40s.
Etta James and Billie Holiday were two of her favorites. She related to the pain she heard in the songs.
The whole idea of kind of going back in time to meld, hip-hop and current-day R&B with, kind of older, more traditional forms of music.
Na dodjeli nagrada Grammy 2007. briljirala je pjesma Ain't No Other Man.
What did you win? Tell us. Best female pop vocal, so I'm really, really excited.
Christina already has Grammys stacked on her wall, so this is just another one to add onto the belt.
Tijekom dodjele, Christina je izvela pjesmu It's a Man's World u čast R&B legendi Jamesu Brownu.
And she loved the idea, very excited about it. I remember the fittings for the wardrobe, and she learned some of the James Brown exact moves.
I remember speaking to her and telling her how important it was to completely destroy that song, because there was talk that, she didn't seem like the right candidate to pull off a James Brown song. And I remember she and I having to talk about it, and she was like, don't worry, I'm going to kill it, I'm going to kill it.
It was just one of those magic moments that only an artist of her ability can create, and she just nailed it. She nailed it live. Remember, I was backstage, she walked off the stage and she walked up to me and said, I nailed it.
Godine 2007. Christina Aguilera krenula je na turneju Back to Basics, u sklopu koje je na pozornici imala pravi cirkuski ring. No najuzbudljivije stvari događale su se izvan pozornice.
I took one of those little home pregnancy tests and I started tearing up and, getting really emotional because I realized I was going to be a mommy.
I was in the car on the way to the airport when she called me.
There was no way I'd be able to hold, that secret until he got back. I couldn't help it. I had to share it with him. I was like, get ready for the surprise of your life. I've got some pretty big news for you. Basically insinuating that, yes, he was going to be a daddy.
When I got out of the car, I just screamed in the middle of the airport. I was so excited.
Christina je skrivala dobru vijest i ostala je na turneji. Nekoliko mjeseci poslije i ostatak svijeta sve je saznao, zahvaljujući Paris Hilton.
We were in Las Vegas and we were at a nightclub.
Not realizing that she hadn't announced it yet, Paris Hilton let the cat out of the bag.
Congratulations to the most beautiful pregnant woman in the world, Christina Aguilera. She's the hottest pregnant woman ever. I love you, your goodness.
She was very sweet about it, and Christina was like, well, there it is. What are you going to do about it,
12. siječnja 2008. Christina i Jordan dobili su dječaka teškog 2750 grama, kojeg su nazvali Max Lyron Bretman.
It was just something I'll never forget. We walked in, and there's Christina holding Max. I'd never seen my daughter before holding her own child. It was the most touching thing I'd ever seen.
The first time I saw Christina hold my son was one of the best moments of my life.
Maxovo rođenje potaknulo je Christinu da se počne baviti političkim temama.
Oh, beautiful, for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties.
It was really important for me to get involved with Rock the Vote in this case because, being a new mom, this particular election obviously was historic. So it was really special for me to involve my son and I both in the campaign and to try to encourage the younger generation to vote, young and old for that matter.
It's time to make history. It's time to rock the vote.
I think it wasn't even like a choice or a question for her, and it was just something that she had to do.
It's also important for me as a mom to get back to what makes me feel good and what makes me me, and still pushing for my ultimate dreams and goals, which have yet to be accomplished.
Her greatest challenge is to balance her creativity and the work that goes into what she does, and then to be a great wife and a great mother.
I wish that I could, separate myself into 5 different people at any given time, but you can't, and you have to make the most with what you've got, and I do that every day.
RTL Televizija.